Hi, this is Mary Benton. I'm so glad you found your way to my website. I'd like to share with you a few reflections on the topic of hope. You may have noticed that at the bottom of each page of the website, there's like a little banner that has something in it called a seed of hope. And I call it a seed of hope because I know that I cannot give another person hope just by saying something hopeful. However, I'm hoping that these little reflections can be like seeds, that given a bit of time, they may grow. And in growing, that may help you to feel a bit more hopeful during whatever suffering or hardship you're going through right now. So I'd like to share just a little bit more reflection on each of these. The first seed of hope. Life is a process and constantly changing. I will not always feel this way, even if it seems like I will. Sometimes we forget that life is a process, and we feel like we should be able to have everything figured out, or we should be able to get it together right now. And really, life is a series of ups and downs and steps forward and times where we feel like we have fallen back. And that's really all right, because it's a process where we keep learning and growing. And being engaged in that process of learning and growing is really the most important thing. And it's also helpful for us to remember that we're not always going to feel the way we feel right now. And I know I came across a quote once that said that no thought or feeling lasts forever. And I found that very comforting, because sometimes I had some feelings that I didn't like very much, and it was nice to know that it wasn't always going to be that way. And a lot of times, yet, we become afraid that it is going to last forever. Whether it's physical pain or emotional distress, we start becoming afraid that maybe I'm always going to feel this way. And that fear actually increases our suffering. It makes us feel worse because we start picturing this endless future of feeling awful. Related to that is the second seed of hope. And that one says, picturing the worst increases distress. I cannot know the future, but I can be open to possibility. And if you find yourself picturing the worst, certainly you know that you're in good company, because most of us do that at least some of the time. It's a pretty common human thing to do, and actually it's common for a reason. If we as human beings can anticipate what things might happen, especially what bad things might happen, we can plan and prepare and prevent a certain number of those things from going on. And so that's really an adaptive trait. It helps our survival. However, sometimes when we are depressed or under a lot of stress, or maybe we just have a brain chemistry that's prone to this sort of thing, we may find that we do this excessively, and we're just constantly picturing bad things happening. And what happens is then that our bodies start pumping out stress hormones, and maybe our heart's beating fast, and we can't sleep, and we start feeling all these signs of physiological arousal because our bodies are reacting to these imaginings as though that was what was happening right now. And of course, we can't really know the future, even when it seems predictable to us. And if we're able to remind ourselves of that, then we can be open to possibilities. And possibility doesn't mean something is going to happen for sure, but we can at least keep our minds open that maybe there's something else that will happen, or maybe there's something else that I will discover, I will know, that things won't keep going or won't go the way that I think that they're going to. Just being open to that possibility is a hope builder. Finally, the third seed of hope. Some realities of life I cannot change. However, I'm always free to change how I respond to them. And this, I think, is a really important concept, because there are some things in life that happen that we really don't like and that we can't change. And sometimes these things can be really major things, like we can have a serious injury, a serious physical or mental illness. We may lose people that we love very much, and we can't change that. And knowing that we can't change it may leave us feeling that we're just sort of doomed to have a miserable life because this is what's happened to me. And if we entertain the notion that maybe I can learn to change how I respond to this negative thing that's happened. And even if I don't know how to do that right now, or I don't even think that it's possible, if I stop and say, well, maybe in time, with some help or some guidance, I'll be able to think or respond to this differently, that can give us a measure of hope. And sometimes we can even look at other people who have had bad things happen to them and say, well, somehow they got through it and they seem to be actually kind of picking up and moving on. And that too can give us a bit of hope that maybe if this other person can do it, I can too. And so these are just a few of my thoughts on the topic of hope. And I thank you for listening. I would welcome the opportunity to talk with you or meet with you further if you would like to do so. Take care.